I hand over to Yang Wu, who is presenting BreathingFrame and Inflatable frame for remote breath signal sharing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction. The talk will be about our previous design, which is called BreathingFrame, an inflatable frame for remote breath signal sharing. My name is Young-Woo Park. My co-authors are Jina Kim and Professor Tek-Jin here. And currently the first author not here because she's 2 now. She's pregnant. So I'm be presenting on behalf of my co-authors. So we are from the CRDR lab at Department of Industrial Design at KAIST. So the contents of the presentation will be comprised of these 6 parts. So I want to start with the basic background that we had some motivation for of this study. So have you ever heard about the email apnea phenomenon that which is the people tend to breathing shallowly, hyperventilating, or not breathing at all while checking their emails? So I'm seeing many people are using their laptops. So I want to ask them, are you breathing regularly during working? So rather than just motivate people to breathe with like a small breathing toys, so we thought about how to apply them in everyday products. So we started about small a phenomenon that increase of the long distance family members and couples now on, and current limitation of the remote communication that if only focus on the vocal, video, and the text channels. So we set our aim is to identify what possibilities that breathing signal sharing may have for the creation of emotional communication channels. So before getting onto the designs, that we thought about some ways for supporting intimacy in previous HCI researches. There's some supported by ambient ways and some supported by providing some tactile feelings with vibrations or inflatable surfaces. And also some research is focused on sharing the biosignals, especially the heartbeats. And also there were some researches that tried to express breathing signals for people to make it more calm and in the media to express living creatures. So throughout the relate works, we had some reflections that biosignal sharing is really important because it helps to form remote interpersonal intimacy, and also it can smooth the conversation by providing the empathy. And also we could know the importance of the breathing signals that compared to the heartbeats, that it can be managed unconsciously and with the will, and also there have not been investigated sufficiently and as a medium for remote communication and the emotional communication at a distance. So first, going on to the real designs that we explored breathing movements by making some initial designs. That we apply the air pump and solenoid valve to express different kind of breathing motions, from fast motions to normal, and also to slow breathing motions. So are you breathing now? So we thought about some 4 aspects for applying remote breathing sharing in daily products. So first aspect was visual and tactile representation of breath. So we wanted to enable users to see and touch my or the other party's breath, and also wanted to design the natural breath through latex-covered air inflatable surfaces. And second aspect was to design a breathing system in a photo frame because we wanted to apply them the user to use on the desk or a table in a domestic context or a personal workspace. Also, the photos of the lovers or family members could be used for expressing the breathing expressions. Third, we want it to be unobtrusive breathing sensing. So rather than putting a direct mic under the nose, that we use the belt type sensor with the stress sensor that can be wear around their waist as a breathing signal sensor. And lastly, we wanted to have real-time breathing transmissions. So this is our final design. As I said, it can be put on a desk as a general conventional desk photo frame. And when the user wears belt on the waist, the breath can be detected, and also the other party will the belt, and the belt is detecting the breathing of him. So she can see and touch his breath, that whether he is breathing regularly or not. And also he can feel the her breath along with the photo frame, digital photo frame. So we also had made a switch to turn on to self-checking mode, that whether the user can check their own breath while they are doing some emails or some work with the laptop, that when she recognizes that she is breathing shallowly, that she can take a deep breath during the work. So from now on, I wanted to tell the details about the hardware structure. That we had a 4.3-inch display on the back, and we had a acrylic-coated part to show the inflatable surface, and we used the 3M latex sticker film to express the breathing movements. So on the back, we put the air pumps and solenoid valve with some soft materials because the motors generate some sound, so we wanted to reduce some sound when they are using on the desk. So the total form will be like this. Then users can see the photo and the breathing movements, and also the sound can be observed. And also that there is a stress sensor, as I introduced, that this look like this as a conventional belt. We implemented a bidirectional communication system that can be installed in a server computer and also in the client's computers that can exchange the user's breathing movements. We have small preliminary user studies to know how can the sharing of the breath can be used to improve emotional communication and support telepresence at a distance. We recruited 8 couples, and they were separated into laboratories. And the process of the user study was including the video call, online shopping, and having a break, and reading a paper book, and filling an email survey related to the reading contents. And also, we had an interview upon them for 30 minutes. So the basic findings from our user study was 4, but because of the time limitation, I want to talk about 2 major findings. So first one is people tend to reflect the other party on the frame. 12 users upon the 16 users answer similarly about that they show the tendency to project the other party's presence on a breathing frame. So one of the participants mentioned that I already knew the frame's movement is the other party's breath, and I became to think this as him when the device moves and feel the closeness. And secondly, 4 users represented the device as the other party's belly because the inflatable surface of the breathing frame helped users to remind of the lovers. And so, along with the findings, the second finding was the breathing signal sharing stimulate the participants' curiosity on the other party's status related to the emotional states and according to the types of the breathing signals that they have received. So there was a participant who mentioned that I thought what kind of contents he's reading now when the belly, the device, inflatable sometimes while he was reading the book. And lastly, which is directly related to the email amnia phenomenon that I introduced at the initial part, that it enabled to making users to do natural abdominal breathing. Users did those natural breathing by delivering regular breathing patterns to the other or mimicking the other party's breathing pattern. So we had a very preliminary user study. So I know we have some limitations because when we have do the more longer studies, like more than a month. So we thought about some design implications that can be applied in different kind of applications. First is like a breathing carpet for babies and pets, that it can like making the curiosities and making those people calm. Maybe the mother can focus on their work more better. And second is can be applied to a breathing wall lamp for people to sleep well and read well. And lastly, breathing cushion for patients, that the carer can check the patient's breath, that whether she is breathing well or not. So last year, Kai, we had presented a work in progress paper related to the breathing signal sharing, that it can be wear on a wrist. So this can be a reference to this research. Thank you very much for listening, and feel free to have questions.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a question.
Hi, Eric Paulos. Really interesting. I apologize for the slight pun with this, but I think it's actually interesting. I'm also thinking about it as not that you're connected all the time, but almost the same way you get a read receipt, you could get a breathe receipt, right? When someone like gets your message, what's the breathing that kind of preceded and sort of succeeded when they received it? You could sense some kind of anxiety. I don't know if you've thought about that, but there's this kind of, especially between people who have existing relationships, like, couples or other loved ones, you would have this sense of astonishment or surprise.
What was the point? Sorry.
I'm curious if you thought, you described it more as a kind of permanent, you would have this connection that would be established. But if you had these shorter breathing messages, does that make any sense, or does it not?
Maybe there could be like a synchronous way to deliver some kind of breathing messages that when the users come to the desk and receive some kind of different kind of breathing patterns. But I think compared to other like emoticons or other like tactile expressions, that breathing patterns are more like synchronous and also pretty ambient and also subtle. So I think it can be better if it is used as an ambient display when people are using it. So that answers.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fine. Thanks.
Hi. Adding to your literature review, the Royal College of Art had some work on heated benches, very provocative work. My question was about the breathing carpet.
Yeah, breathing carpet.
Have you thought about going to neonatal units and asking about newborns who have to be isolated from their mothers? If this could be useful.
What was the neo?
The newborn babies. Sometimes they have to be isolated.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of that when the mother is looking at near side of her, like not that far from her, and maybe she's like acknowledging that the baby is here, but when the baby is not focusing on other things, that she can like stick to the mother very actively. So maybe the small breathing carpet can make the baby a little bit calm and playful, so maybe mother can more focus on their work better. So
okay, I'll catch you after.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm Michal Rinot from Israel. I wanted to ask you a few tested questions of synchronization of breath.
Yeah.
And another question is, did people communicate directly through breath? So did they do some kind of like a breathing gesture in order to communicate with each other?
Yeah, actually in the paper that they have developed some kind of breathing vocabulary. It is not that dynamic, but like they can intently express some kind of breathing movements. So that was one of the findings. So what was the second one?
About synchronized breath.
Synchronized. Yeah, I think it is really similar to the previous questions that we want it to be synchronized and also real time to be in a subtle and ambient display. So yeah, that could be the answer. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I really like this type of the application to make emotional coupling over distance. So 3 suggestions. I think breathing is great, but also heartbeat is very powerful. Second, as a media, tactile display is great, but also you can make a pillow, for example, a bed. Actually, many people, including design school, also we did pillow versions. You can hug. It's very, very powerful to convey that kind of ideas. Also not literal tactile one, but also ambient media like a water ripple is also very, very useful to make not so distracting. But there's one problem. When technology breaks down, breathing stops. That may drive me crazy. So you have to make a panic treatment. Yeah.
Yeah, should I answer? Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's the reason that we have suggested a device for the patients that to check whether my patient is breathing well or not. Maybe I think also the Hiroshi mentioned that when my partner's breathing stops because of the device break, so it can be maybe real surprise to the other. But yeah, that can be overcome with the robust software development, I think. Yeah.
It's Chung from the Yahoo Labs again.
Yep.
So I was looking at your presentation, so it would be really cute to combine the warp and your breathing pattern. Earlier we were playing with cast silicon as a pneumatic interface.
Yep.
And one thing you notice that when you blow air into the silicone chamber, it becomes more translucent, and light can shed through the system more. So by putting a light underneath it, you can make not only breathe in the shape, but also like in the light. So it could be more visible beyond being tactile. Could be interesting. Just a thought.
Yep, thank you. But the 4.33-inch display was kind of enough to be see from this display, and also we use the stickable latex film, which is very transparent, so it was very easily visible. So thank you for the suggestions.
I also have a question. Did the device make some maybe subtle noise so that you actually had another modality?
That's why that we try to absorb the sound with the back of the part, that we insulated the air pump with some soft materials. That it was one of our design suggestions. So the sound was very low, so people was very not that obtrusive what they're using on the desk. So, yeah.
Thanks for your work. It's really interesting. So give him a hand, please.